Hello everybody out there in the hog hunting world. We're here at the studio, the Dixie Doggers compound, aka the dog pound is what Rodney Bell calls it. We're doing this monologue on, as of right now, probably the best hunt of my life. We didn't kill a ton of hogs. We didn't kill no world record bears. We didn't slaughter a bunch of ducks. We didn't do none of that. But we were with some of the best people that's ever been on the planet. It was really a humbling experience, number one, to be accepted and welcomed the way we were. Not just by the guys that we went to hunt with, but by the people in that community, the other people that hunt, just the people in general. And that was in Hayesville, North Carolina. It was a beautiful place. When you go and you stand at 4,000 or 5,000 feet and the sun's barely coming up and you got all these mountains and you're standing right above the clouds and you got some of the best bear hounds around about 1,500 feet below you, just blowing it up. I mean, you tell me there ain't God. I don't know how else to say it. It was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. And it was also one of the hardest walks that I've ever done. It wasn't really a walk. It wasn't easy. It was a hike. I promise you that. We went to hunt with Jacob Matheson. I met him in Downsville, Louisiana. He was with Carter Schultz. We were at Jake Lacono's Bay down there. And we hit it off and got to talking. Well, anyway, I got an invite to come up and run a bear. And it was the week of my birthday. So we got there, I think it was December 15th. And wound up getting up there. We stayed at a really nice little inn. When you open the front door, you're looking over a lake. I mean, it's nice. It's beautiful. So we dropped on this bear. Had one that had been coming in. We dropped on him the next morning, just a touch before daylight. They struck him, ran the piss out of him. He kept treeing, and but he didn't want to stay treed. Every time he'd get to a tree and they get to hammering good on him, he'd bail out and he'd go again. Kind of the equivalent to a hog breaking constantly. I think like 6 times we done that. About a 12-mile race. And the way everything happens there, it's totally different. So when you're getting dropped out right here, you might have to take a truck and go 5 miles around this way just to cut them off because they're just on the other side of the hill. Or you might have to leave a truck on your way in and, you want to take and space them out to accordingly to where you're going to come out or where you could come out. Because when you walk up that mountain and down the other side, you don't just walk back out. You might have to hit a trail or a logging road or a creek or something and walk another 5-6 miles around or longer just to get to a road that you can have access. It's definitely a different kind of deal. It was fun. I loved it. I mean, Rodney Bell went with us, and we carried some of our dogs. We got to talking, and the hogs had been coming in pretty good. So after the bear hunt, after it went like that, the bear wound up crossing the road again, and it was getting back into too much population. I'm not going to tell the exact area or locations, but once it crossed the road, we picked the dogs up right there in the road, and we called it. So that night, Jacob, he texted me, and there was 2 nice boar hogs that come in on camera. And so the next morning we wound up, me, Nate, Rodney, we met Jacob at Andy's shop. And Jacob had Christian Moore and Silas Livingood with him. And so we stop at a little store, get us a biscuit, do all our little normal deal, and then we take off. We take and put Jacob's truck in one area, and we followed Andy and my truck up this mountain. I'm talking about you have to have 4-wheel drive, or you cannot drive up. It's not wet or nothing. It's just that steep. It's a switchback just like this. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's awesome too, because like I don't know how in the hell they done it, but like Andy's cabin, when you come across the top of this mountain, you start to go back down. He's in this nice little bowl right there. It is beautiful. He said he hauled all of it in on the back of his truck. One, logs, just a few logs at a time. It's wild. So we get there and we look at his cabin and everything. By that time, from the last time we'd seen the hogs on camera, I think we were around about a 5-hour track. So we take Midnight, Sally, Matt, and Tyson, which is Jacob's dog Tyson, and then I think Andy had a dog named Red Pup, young dog. We turned them loose. They went out 500-600 yards, made a loop, and came back. Well, sent them again, so we started walking just a little bit. Now up there is going to be a lot of walking, a lot of walk hunting. You can't really rig or road hunt. I guess you can in some areas, but where we were at, you couldn't. So we cast the dogs again. Let's see, it was Midnight and Sally. They stayed to the right and went down low. Cole, Matt, that Red Dog, Tyson. I think it was Christian had a little dog there too. And then he had his bulldog. Well, they all swung back to the left and then they came back. Well, Midnight and Sally, they kept going. I knew they had struck something or they was getting hotter on it, because they wound up. They went another 700 or 800 yards, and then they wound up almost 3/4. They were 3/4 of a mile from where the truck was. And then they struck. That they wake this hog up out of his bed. This hog is laying there, and when they go to baying on him, he stands up and shakes the dirt off of him. So they took that 5-6 hour track and ran it right up under his ass. And I mean that's what silent dogs are good. That's why we like our silent dogs. And once they started baying, that hog didn't really get to move much at all. We got within like 300 yards, and I don't know if Christian turned the bulldog loose or if he or whatever. Anyway, his bulldog took off. He got there. It was a little early for really than what we needed, because it was still a good ways. But in all honesty, if he hadn't turned him loose and let him hang him, he hung to that damn hog. I'm telling you, that little bulldog. You could see it you could see the bulldog hanging on that hog through Midnight and Sally's GoPros. He was just swinging. I mean, that little dog was swinging. He got a beating. Ain't no doubt. He got knocked off. The hog went down the mountain, and I don't mean like a little light incline. I mean like down a bluff, and he got knocked off. Best I could tell, he got knocked off. Well, the dog disappears for a couple minutes. Well, all the other dogs are there. Everybody's baying. Well, here comes this little bulldog one more time. And he's a different color. He's a little scarlet colored that time. He come in there and busted that hog's ass again. And he's hanging on. And the whole time we're getting closer, well, I had an old bird bull named Cole and I'd already turned him loose, and he was one of the ones that went back to the left. Well, he came all the way back around to the damn truck where Rodney was at because I toned him. And the reason I toned him because the dogs were headed to the right. I was going to try to get him to come back to us, but he went to the truck. He done what he's supposed to do, really. I can't get mad at him. And then after he got back to the truck, Rodney took to send him back down there toward us. And he come blowing by us wide open. Well, he went down there and hit that hog, and that was the end of that. He put the anchor to him. And in all honesty, it was pretty easy for Cole. But if it had not been for Jacob's little bulldog whooping that hog that long, I don't think old Cole would have had that easy of a route, to be honest with you, because, I mean, that little bulldog done the brunt of the work.
Give us a rundown on what's happening. Cut loose at Andy's cabin up here in the middle of BFE on top of the tallest hill in the world. Midnight Sally went out, did very shitty little loop, about 500 yards. Seen them again with some more dogs. Midnight Sally broke off. Started hammering at 6/10 of a mile. 6/10 of a mile. And we've been walking forever to go to 100 yards.
You gotta get behind it. Hey, be careful. Be careful.
I think he's what?
This is a brute. Got him took care of. Kicked our dogs back out again. They relayed, took off. Well, they hunted real good for a while, but then they wound up coming back. Well, Mr. Andy said we were not leaving that hog in the woods. So instead of hiking back up 3/4 of a mile, we went down to the creek and we went, I don't know, probably about 2.5, 3 miles down the creek, back up a mountain, to an access road, to a logging road. Now keep in mind, Mr. Andy's 72 years old. I'm the next oldest guy there. And like I'm talking about, I ain't never seen nothing like it in my life. And then we got Jacob. I made this hog drag. And I mean, I said, this is a good time to test it out, which we pulled a few with it. Well, we're coming back down. We went up one side and come back down. And we were almost to an access road where we parked Jacob's truck. Well, when we're coming down, the hog gets hung up on the tree. Jacob's old McGilla gorilla ass is up here, and he pulls, and he's straightening out these S-hooks. He's straightening them out because the hog got hung on a tree. I mean, you see what I'm saying, how strong these boys are? I was like, good God Almighty. That hog, honestly, he was over 300 or better all day long. And they were dragging him around like he was a 100-pound pig. Which, like I said, Mr. Andy, that's the only time I even seen Andy breathe hard. The whole time we were there. And like Jacob, hell, he drug that thing. He put that son of a gun on his shoulders. Put that strap on there. I don't know how far it was. We got pictures and videos of him. He done took his shirt off. Here it is, Frost out there. Yeah, the great white hunter. I mean, he's got this damn thing on. He takes off down the road. Just dragging 300-pound hog. Like, hey, here we go. Like, good Lord Almighty. That's why I specialize in killing shoats. There's no sense in trying to drag 300-pound hog when you can drag 30 pounds. That's what we specialize in. Shoat shanking. The shoat shank redemption. That's what we do down here in Alabama. So after that, we went and got us a bite to eat at the Huddle House. That's some of the best eating I've ever had, honestly. I mean, that Huddle House right there is it's on fire. We appreciate everybody that was there. It's a close, tight-knit community. Like I said, all the other guys, the hunters that were there, we had their dogs show up over there with ours, and nobody complained, not one time. As a matter of fact, they were like, "Don't go over here and hunt this property. We seen this over here today." And Andy and Jacob were the same way with the other. They interact with each other, and they're true houndsmen. They don't bicker. They don't argue. I'm sure there's instances, but for the majority, I mean, I was talking to a friend on Facebook, and they were bear hunting on the other side of the state, and their dogs was running a bear, and another group of hunters, their dog packed in with theirs and treed the bear. Well, the other group of hunters shot the bear before they ever got there. And nobody said a word. Good. Everybody was happy. I'm like, I don't know about where it don't work like that down here. And it should. Theoretically, it should. There should never be any issues like that, because if you're hunting and you're running dogs, everybody should be on the same team. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to promote. You know, the most positive image of it that we can. That's why the dog hunting gets such a bad image, is because you have some people that are so negative about it. So, but anyway, it was the best. It was the best hunt that I've ever been on, simply because of those facts right there. It's just fun. We had a great time. We had good dog work. We were good friends. We had some good food, and can't beat that. And I'd love to go again anytime. And same goes for them. I hope they get to come down and hunt with us. We're going to go this week to Georgia and hunt with a group of them again. And we're going on a hog hunt this time. And so y'all just keep watching and listening, and we'll have that one on here pretty soon. Maybe we'll have something of 10 or 12 shoat shankings going on that y'all can see. That's how real hog hunters do it. Little pigs are harder to catch. So anyway, thank y'all, and we appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Leave a comment. Come see us. Come hunt with us. We appreciate y'all.